Hello, hello, and welcome to another episode of Found in Interpretation Podcast. Once again, I'm one of your co-hosts, Alain Breton, and I'm here with Brian. Brian, how you doing?
I'm doing great, thanks. And we're here also with Jeremy Gerin. How are you, Jeremy?
Great, thank you.
Awesome.
Thanks for having me.
All right, so Jérémy is a French-American interpreter, and he will tell us about navigating through the market and red tape. It's completely crazy. Don't forget, like, share, subscribe. And now, let's kick it. Okay, welcome, Jérémy. So, Jérémy, as we said earlier, he's a French-American interpreter, and he travels the world, goes all around places. He works on both sides of the Atlantic, if I understand it correctly. But Jérémy, tell us a bit about yourself.
Sure. And thanks again for having me. So, yeah, as you mentioned, I'm French-American, so a dual citizenship from a French family, but I'm American through and through, from the New York metro area. And yeah, I've been passionate about my French culture since forever. I mean, my dad was a maître cuisinier de France, so master chef of France. And from a young age, we would go to, the top French restaurants. I know all the top French chefs in New York, in Paris. So anyway, it was instilled in me for a while. I didn't go to the FESNI, the French American School of New York, but we had French nannies. We would go to our house in France, in Annecy, every summer, in Haute-Savoie, and that's in the greater Geneva area in the French Alps. And so I sort of grew up in France. Every summer I would I'd go and see my family. And yeah, so I'm definitely bilingual and French. So I finished high school and I studied business administration and French at Hartwick College in upstate New York. And then I had a career in sales, and it was again mostly with French brands, and some other stuff in banking, digital marketing. And then I decided to pivot because I'd understood I was a really great salesman, but I wanted to be in business for myself. I wanted to sell something for myself. So I went to Quebec. So because I'm a French citizen, I paid local tuition at Concordia University in Montreal and studied traductologie, translation studies, or traductology, which is a relatively new area of study. But that was my first step into the world of translation. So you ask how I got into interpreting. So actually, you should know that COVID was about halfway through my maîtrise. And so I was actually living in the Plateau, Avenue du Parc, and I caught wind that people were getting sick all around. And I said, that's it. I'm not staying in the city for this. So I went back down to Greenwich, and I passed the ATA exam to be a translator. After graduating, I acquired OTTIAQ, the Order of Translators of Quebec, certification.
As an interpreter and a translator, or just as a translator?
No, this was translator only, but I had taken the first steps to become an interpreter, and that was same thing, about 2022, or 2022 rather, when I passed the New York State Court Interpreter exam. And I used that because I'd been fascinated by interpreting to really have my mentor, Louis Casgrain of Alpha Interpretation, take a chance on me in conference interpreting. The rest is history.
Wow.
I'm one more who that Louis tried, and today I'm still an interpreter.
Alpha University?
Alpha University 20 years later.
Yes. Yeah, there's several of, actually some of our guests, and Louis was on her podcast as well.
Yeah, so. I watched it. But the thing about it was that, I was actually scared at first about simultaneous interpreting. I didn't think I could do it. I thought it was impossible. I would see, United Nations stuff, or even like consecutive with presidents. That I'm not sure I'd ever do. But so I said to myself that consecutive court interpreting, that's something I could do. Little did I know that conference interpreting, I'm fully able to do it as well. And I always compare it to riding the wave. That's what it is.
Oh.
Once you get into the wave and you ride it, your boards may be a bit back, or maybe you're there, you know what's going to happen. Sometimes the speaker repeats themselves just to say the joke again. And so you're there, you're like, okay, well, I'm already at the peak, so I'll just cool down a little bit.
It's a very good analogy to talk about surfing. I like it.
Thanks.
I might use it again, or everyone who's listening to the podcast,
Great.
I might become
I
a
find
thing.
that I'm kind of riding that wave every time at the beginning of January, because you don't interpret much during the holidays. Then it takes a little while to get back into that wave and then get back into the swing of things for the rest of the busy season.
How's the wave right now, Brian?
Oh, the wave is it's a tsunami right now.
Yeah, well, the market's picking back up from that tariff stuff. In the spring, there was a lot of pent up need to, share the thoughts and all that with the
I think the first half of 2025 was very much either a standstill or a little bit of a decrease in the business, just because of the tariffs. And there was an American election, there was a Canadian election, there was a provincial election here in Ontario, so like nobody knew where to put their money. But now I think everything is kind of picking up again, and that's good for us, good for business, good for the economy. I think that hopefully it stays like this till the holidays, and then we can get a little break again, and then we can ride that wave again in January.
A brand new wave for 2026.
Surf's up.
Yeah.
So, and Jérémy, you first contacted me I don't know, maybe something like 6 months ago, because you wanted to come onto the podcast. The podcast is actually 1 year old right now. In October, we've celebrated 1 year onto this podcast. This is pretty. Merci beaucoup. And you've contacted me pretty early. Yeah, we contacted pretty early when we did the podcast. When we started the podcast, actually, I still remember when I got your message, and you wanted to tell us about some of the bureaucratic nightmare or red tape that you're facing right now in order to get into different markets. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So just to go back though, first in the story. So suddenly I'm a conference interpreter. I'm doing major annual events. Desjardins, they have superstars on stage. Bayer Pharmaceutical, we've got, it's crazy. So suddenly I'm in the thick of it, and really enjoying the career. So I really wanted to stick with it. I saw that I was good at it. Now I do operate primarily in US and Canada, but I did want to and Quebec, and did want to develop the business in France, because after all, I'm French. France, Switzerland, Belgium, UK. So one of the issues that I was having in Quebec was that I was a temporary immigrant. I had my student visa. I got a post-graduation work permit. In fact, it's set to expire next year. But it's a bit uncomfortable, if I'm being honest, in terms of lodging, maybe getting a new car, stuff like that. Like, my career is going great and I could afford all those things, but they were not for me. They were reserved for citizens for permanent residence.
Just so I understand, where are you physically now?
Right now, I'm in Charleston, South Carolina.
All right, and you can work remotely.
To answer your question, so after, go ahead.
But yeah, just so I understand, you can work remotely. Let's say for Brian or Louise' company, while being in America and invoice them, and there are no issues over there. So why is your hold on? Why not?
In Canada, as long as you don't perform the services on Canadian soil, you don't need a visa.
Yeah.
Right.
So
right now
you're in America
can.
right now.
Yep. Yeah, it's a bit superfluous. The visa I have, I'm not using it. I'm not using it anymore. But anyway, to get back
you're
to
in the States and you're working in the States.
I'm back in the States.
Okay.
But so what had happened, and this is the central idea that I came to you with, was that when I decided to get my work permit and leave Canada, I spent 6 months in France. Like I said, I wanted to develop the business there. So I had, at this point, I had New York state courts, Washington, D.C. state courts, Massachusetts trial courts, Maine trial courts, and Vermont courts. So, as well as the master's degree in translation, bachelor's in French, and I'm French. I had about 20 hearings under my belt at the time. So, I wanted to become a traducteur assermenté. What does that mean? That means you're a sworn translator. I'm saying translator, and interprète assermenté. So 2 applications. And in France, how it works. So again, just to come back, and it has more to do with translation, but I really wanted a French seal, a translator seal. The one I have through the ATA in the US, the one I have through OTTIAQ in French. That way, when you need to have anything officially translated for courts, for example, one of my clients is the Crown Prosecutor of Ontario, or USCIS, US Customs and Immigration Service, they need that seal. So I wanted that in France. And the interpretation designation as well.
Of course.
And so I basically I did everything that was required, submitted this, and it was very French, of course. So what you do is you submit your application end of January and get an answer mid-December.
Wow.
Pretty long time to wait for an answer. And the answer I got, this is what I wanted to share, was rejection, motif, reason, pas de besoin, no need.
Huh.
So I'm there. I'm fully qualified with an application that was completed, submitted on time. I'm French, there's no question about that. And still, they decided not to add me to their ranks, to these public directories of expert auprès de la cour is what it is. You, for like 2 weeks, you become an expert, a court expert, and then shortly after you go before a magistrate and take an oath to, solemnly do the work.
And just to make things clear, you're not the first one applying, right? There are other people who have that certification, right?
Yes.
You're not the very first one to come in and say, "Hey, give me a certification for something that does not exist." You're just
it's
one
part
of
of the
many.
process. Yeah,
it's part of the process, right?
And this exists. And then, in fact, just to go further, and zoom out a little bit, any French person looking for especially abroad, looking for a sworn translation. Again, I'm gonna be talking about both. I'm both a translator and an interpreter.
Were you rejected for both?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yes.
You were rejected for both interpreter
Both.
and translation.
And may I ask, who does the rejection? Is it the court or is it an association? Or?
It was a small group of administrators in the Cour d'appel de Chambéry. So the Chambéry, they handle the Pays de Savoie, meaning Haute-Savoie and Savoie. And it has the name of the town or the city, but in fact it is one of like 15 major cours d'appel, so kind of lower courts, if you want to call it that, of
A
which
court of
you
appeal,
need
maybe?
court of
Is it?
appeal. Yeah,
Is it? Yeah. Okay.
yeah, of which you need 3 years of experience to be. One day you could be a Supreme Court interpreter, but you need to have 3 years at the level of the d'appel. So, and they basically just took that from me, had me linger for 11 months waiting when they knew that there was no need for any more, that supply and demand is how they manage their roster. But the real thing was this I wanted to say: French people looking for sworn translations are going to the Alliance Française website or the Consulat Général de France website. And there's a link that brings you to the Cour d'appel, all of them, separately, for you to choose then by region. And I'm sure that Paris gets the most. It's kind of no doubt about that. Or whether you live nearby, whichever, to then have a list of the experts, which you then have to find translators and interpreters. It's really out of date, is the way I would put it, because ideally it would be all regions together, or all of the interpreters and translators, and that it just doesn't make sense from A to Z. None of it makes sense, and they're unwilling really to understand. And this was my theory, that all they would have to do is measure the traffic on those websites to see that tons of people, more than there are English criminals in the Alps one year, who need, English interpretation. And the other last point on that was that agencies as well. So I work predominantly with agencies. Brian, maybe we'll work together. I didn't know that you had an agency. And unless that was theoretical. And
No, that's true.
and they were shocked. They were shocked. They were like, well, we need sworn interpreters to handle, that's what our clients are looking for their depositions, for their stuff. So you're saying that they didn't do it? I was like, yeah, no, that's it.
Once you got the decision that there was no need, is there an appeal board?
I appealed the decision. It was enumerated in the rejection letter to the Supreme Court of France, the Cour d'appel. And I had already
So you went all the way to the Supreme Court?
Yeah.
Just like the Supreme Court here with Justice Wagner?
Yeah.
Or is it different? Is it a different Supreme Court? Like, is it a Supreme Court for translators or interpreters, or like, are you talking about the
Supreme Court of France? But it didn't go like how I would have wished. I was already dreaming of hiring a court sketch artist to have me in the Paris court, pleading my case. No, they just check whether or not pas de besoin, no need, is an actual reason, and it is. No need is a reason in France, and obviously that's ridiculous.
Could you talk in person to anyone, or it was just a letter?
No, just a letter. I had a portal for the Cour de Cassation where I could follow the progress of my case, and I saw the ruling just the other day. Actually, it came in. I should be getting a hard copy.
So you got rejected in this specific region in France, but you wanted to work in that specific region in France because that's where you're from, like your family and your ancestors and all this. Is it possible to then just apply to another region, like as a foot in the door, so that then you can maybe go towards that direction once you're already in the system?
Yeah, and that's where I'm going to pivot to, but the same thing might happen again, just based on how they're operating, but I hope not. My only hope would be that Paris would be more business forward I think what they did is very anti-business.
Yeah.
And
Well, I mean, it's the government too. But
yeah,
but
and they're
say,
justified in not really caring about that, but really you know,
but
want to.
could you also like apply like Paris, Lyon, Bordeaux, Marseille, and then like just see it? Like, can you do multiple applications, or can you only do
No.
one?
So it's based on your address. And so what I can do, this is a great segue. So aside from the courts, but it helps with the courts. So I don't know if you guys know this, but in France, you can't just get to work. You're not allowed to work. You need to create a company, a micro-entreprise, and you need to register with a certain code the type of service you're offering. So in my case, translation and interpreting services. I created a company. It's called Amerigo, traduction et interprétariat. And I went with interprétariat to have that kind of French side. You know, we say interprétation right here and
Oh yeah.
interpretation, so that's pretty funny, I think. It's a play on words on Parigo, you know, the slang for a Parisian. So I called it Amerigo, like in American.
No, I was not aware of this slang. Sorry.
Oh, no. Okay. Yeah, I see you not reacting. Okay. And I can sort of add a business address where I want. So that would be the next step next year, would be to have a domiciliation of Amerigo in Paris and then go like that. In terms of having that, like casting a wide net like that, that's not something that's possible.
You like filling forms, man.
Me?
Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to follow your story, and I'm really it's not confusing as much as frustrating the amount of paperwork that you have to go through.
Sure. But you know, it actually, well, when the results are there, it's worth it. You know, it doesn't take too much time. Also, I love signing my name. That's why I love being a translator so much. The déclaration du traducteur, the translator statement in Quebec, and in the US, it's called a letter of accuracy. And you're there, boom, that's my seal. Boom, that's my signature and today's date. You're good. Take this to the bank. Take this to who you want. What was I gonna say? So then, so I start to, outside of the courts, get agencies in France, and they're the ones telling me they were shocked about the you know, the thing with the courts, but they knew I had experience as a court interpreter. So I've got a couple clients in Spain, UK, Belgium, Switzerland, and
You're allowed to work in the whole European Union,
right?
But for that, you need a micro business, as you were saying.
Yes, yes.
And without a micro, just to make sure I understand. So, without that micro business, example, here we have several interpreters who don't have a registered company. They're more like self-employed under their name. They have filed out taxes under their name. That is not possible in France.
No. And the argument that they give, see, this is the worst when French people, they argue with you and you really can't argue with them. In this case, they would say, you know, we just put in our social security number and we get to work as a freelancer, social insurance number in Canada, right?
Yeah.
So the argument would
that's
say,
the same thing I was saying.
why would you be working on your healthcare number? That doesn't make sense. That's for healthcare.
You said social insurance or healthcare? I don't understand.
I may not have the Canadian reference, but it's basically just a joke. So in the US, you can work as a freelancer under your social security number. No need to incorporate. In France, no.
Same thing
Reason
here
being
as well.
is that you try to explain that to them, and they'd say something to the effect of, well, that's peculiar. You're using your social sécurité sociale healthcare number to work. That's not, so you can't argue with them. Okay, all right, you win.
Okay, because I don't once again I don't have the reference here, but in the United States, your social security number, I guess,
yes,
is also the same thing as your healthcare number.
Any company gets two numbers, a numéro ciré and a numéro sirène. So that's it. So I have a numéro ciré, with which I can translate and interpret. So So let me give you another
I would like to.
level
I would
to
like to.
the
I would like to
inception.
say hello. I would like to say hello to all of my French friends here in Quebec, and I understand why they moved here. Sorry.
Mhm.
Now I understand what they're
You
telling me.
spend your
Okay.
whole life filling out forms in France.
Yeah, right. So
Sorry, French listeners.
That's why
I
they get 6
also,
weeks vacation.
yeah, just vacation,
I'm
right?
confused, man. Sorry, man. It's not that you're a bad storyteller. It's just that I found all of this very confusing.
It's
Yeah,
bureaucracy,
well,
man.
it is. I mean, I did everything by the book with the courts, but anyway, so I also registered my business, my French business, which is a European service provider,
Amerigo.
to offer services in Switzerland. So being that NC it's almost a suburb of Geneva.
Now, is the reason why you want to apply to the French courts to be able to work there, is that because you want to eventually move there one day, or is it because they have, say, like Zoom, like we do a lot of stuff on Zoom? Do they have like a virtual platform for court
Right.
interpretation?
So I actually don't. So I know what I like and I know what I don't like, and I have no interest in being a court interpreter in France. But
Okay.
having the designation is a great way to work in the private sector, in the legal sector, as well as in conference interpreting. I was looking for this to be a key to open up conference interpreting. So I guess maybe you guys have noticed. Um, I don't have a master's degree in conference interpreting.
No, I've
So
noticed that in the
that's,
beginning. Your
yeah,
master's is in traductologie
yes,
from
yeah,
l'Université de Concordia.
yes.
All
Yeah.
right.
There is a way
But
to spin that, but it's certainly not. So that makes it tougher. Again, in the European society out there, all they're looking for is for you to have exactly that degree and exactly that experience. And it's day and
what
night.
about joining AIC France? Have you tried that?
It's on the list of things to do. As of today, I have about 145 days of conference experience, days of conference experience. 5 more, and I can send that off. But I think what I'd prefer to do is
By the end
AIC
of October, you should be there.
Switzerland. Yeah,
But you
but I
should
think I would go for AIC Switzerland. And again, the Swiss, I really appreciate what they're doing, how they're basically the Americans of Europe. They're the Americans of the Francophonie. Switzerland and Quebec are much more American and market driven, really forward thinking, open to business, much more than the French. That has to be
okay.
said. I mean, it's true.
We're like Americans that speak French at many levels.
Yeah. That's why I love Quebec so much. It's I always
Brian,
said
you were
Quebec is
saying.
my oyster. And I mean, to be clear, 90% of my business is in the French Canadian market. So it's where I studied, and it's I'm also passionate about. I love Quebec. I think Quebec should be a country, so we'll see about that. But
We're Switzerland on this podcast. We're not getting into politics here.
Yeah, we all
Yeah.
we all go there.
Get it. We all get it.
But so you're living just we're very close to Charleston, North Carolina.
Yeah.
How do you do all those assignments up in New York and Connecticut?
Yeah, about once a month I get on the road, whether it's in Boston or whether it's in Quebec, Montreal, Ottawa, Boston, New York, Washington D.C. So
You traveled there.
I'm really living the dream in that sense. That is set to, at least the Quebec and Canadian part, sort of expire at the end of next summer, since I
Hey,
won't have
living the dream is living as an interpreter. That's living the dream.
Yeah,
Wherever you
yeah.
are.
Absolutely, yeah. So what in terms of say if you want to work in Europe, if you want to work in the US, and if you want to work in Canada, what rates do you use? Do you use because I think in if I'm not mistaken, in the States it's kind of like a bit of a free for all. It's like the free market of interpretation. There's no real set rates as opposed to maybe France or Canada.
No, I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say
No?
that. No, no,
Okay.
no. It can be it could be a 400 an hour US is like $500 Canadian. I think what's going on is that I specifically work in the French Canadian market. Again,
Okay.
I can't be more clear about that. And I also called my company FRQCA um, as a play on France, Quebec, Canada
Okay.
in the name. So that's my LLC. That's been incorporated for a few years. And so what you do is base the prices off the prices in Canada, just converted into dollars.
I
But
see. Okay.
I did so in the time I was in France, I so here's the thing again. So I got my start, my career in sales. I'm great on the phone. I'm personable. I talk to the people much more in English than French, but I know I have the chatch, as they say in French. I'm able to chat with people and kind of uncover information. So I got the rates out of some people. Same person, she had told me that institutional was out of the question, UN, European Union, European Commission, stuff like that, because
For
you
which
needed to have a
market you're
master's
talking
degree.
about?
France.
All right,
And
because
the daily, the
we're bouncing all over the place now. Sorry.
Sure, sure. In France, you can look to, get 700 a day. In Switzerland, it can be as high as 900 per day. That's Swiss francs. So we're already talking about close to 1,200 Canadian.
I see.
All right, so will try to take a few Tylenol now to because I have a headache from hearing the bureaucratic nightmare that you went through in order to get certification. I admire your courage in trying to do things differently and not to be only in one market, but to go all the way when it comes to all the nationalities that you have. That's pretty cool.
In terms of the state courts, my next move is to pass here in South Carolina the National State Court Association exam as a French court interpreter. And what had happened is that back in 2022, when I passed the New York State Court exam, that is not the national version, quite unfortunately. So it took a lot of convincing to get Washington, D.C. on board and Massachusetts. Many other states like Pennsylvania, Virginia, Florida, Hawaii, California all told me, no, you did not take the national version of the test and get a 70% or higher. And I said, but look at the New York State exam requirements. You have to have gotten the 70% or higher to have acquired it. So this stuff just repeats constantly, this sort of stuff where they're almost not wanting you to succeed. But anyway, so
Yeah,
I
but the
have this
things are
now, and
but the things are made to things are made to be local, right? Because most people are not trying to work in different jurisdictions all over the place. They're basically focusing on one market. Am I not wrong? Am I not right? And that's why the
um,
system is made up. Not in defense of the system,
yes,
but
no, you're right.
as an explanation. That's basically it. And your
And that's
case
why the
is a bit,
reciprocity
yeah,
exists,
but
though. And what I'm trying to do is have a modern business model. I'm trying to be a virtual conference interpreter throughout the US, and it's already working.
well,
The
but
only thing that's
we had Judy Jenner the other day on the podcast, and she was telling us that she can work at the federal level as an interpreter, though. So she goes all over the country. So that could be an option for you.
Okay, so that brings up a good point, and so the thing about it, and you were asking me this before while we were prepping, was why am I doing this business model? Why is it so spread internationally? Why do you want to work virtually? You said that traditionally most people work in their local market, their country, their language. You need to understand that the only language really that
matters is money.
That no, I was trying to say that in Canada it's French, and in the US it's Spanish. And so if you're working in any other language than Spanish in the US, you have to get a bit creative with it. So I see this working. I'm already seeing it working. And as they say, if you can sell one, you can sell a million. Clearly, I have such a high level of French and English, of education, understanding of translation. A lot of the times I'm teaching them about translation theory and by extension, interpretation theory. I mean, it's all important stuff. People are fascinated. Judges all the time, they're saying, wow, if I can't believe how well you speak French, if only I could. And that stuff is great. People are happy with the service, and
being
it's
French
altruistic.
Helps.
Go ahead.
Well, being French helps.
I admire your tenacity and being able to try to navigate through all of those different hurdles. It's really commendable to be able to see and just keep us in the loop in terms of what happens, if your experiment works or not, because it would be nice to see if maybe in the future.
So it's a great way to wrap things up. Good luck once again on on breaking the bureaucratic, I should say, barriers out there and all the red tape. If I have any forms to fill in the future, I will definitely contact you. All right. No, but that's it. Okay, so thank you,
Brian.
Thanks, coming.
Thank you,
Brian, Jérémy, and everyone. Don't forget, like, share, subscribe, and we'll meet each other for another episode next time.
Merci. Au revoir.
Bye.